This is not the life I had envisioned for myself. Like, looking back over the years, how things could have been differently if I had, decided to done things differently. But no, it's not it's not how I had envisioned it or how I had, dreamt for it to be. It's, far less of my liking, and I wish if I had done things differently and for it to, be different. But the greatest thing is it's never too late for change, and change is always possible as long as you decide to, just take and set your foot down and decide that it has to stop here, and that this is not the life I want for myself. There is so much more out there, and it can be so much better as long as you just change the narrative. Hi, I am Nicola Machiavelli, and welcome to my channel. Okay, so first of all, you need to not allow fear to hold you back. Fear is what, sets most of us back, and not procrastination as we all would think. In life, in order for us to live extraordinary and not be ordinary, we need to separate ourselves from the ordinary and start thinking extraordinary, start doing things that are bigger than us and better than us. And in order for us to do that, we have to kind of start from on the inside, start looking on the inside and seeing what it is that about yourself that you don't like, what is it that always holds you back, what is it that make you feel worthwhile. Start looking into those stuff. Always try to be the change you wish to see. Try to, like, that you that you envision in yourself, that you so desire to be, that you that you see in your dreams. Try to be that kind of person. How are you gonna be that type of person? If you look at yourself like right now and you realize that who you are now today is not who you see yourself in your dreams or in the next few years, like the next 5 years, then you have a lot of work to do, because it seems like sometimes some persons think that it's easy, but it's like it takes a lot of work, and these things don't really happen overnight. Change doesn't happen overnight, but change is possible, and every day you take a baby step and a step towards a change for the greater good. As the days go by, it progresses. You decide to change today, that's 1%. The next day is probably 1%. The other day, another 1%. The other few days, it goes up to 4. Next month it's a 5. But it's gradual. Something is happening. As long as you're doing something, something happens. So you need to work on that. Try to be the change you wish to see. How we're gonna do that? First, we're gonna look into ourselves. Look into yourself. Look at yourself, and if you are, like, if you look at your life and you feel like your life completely sucks and there's nothing going on for you at all, nothing whatsoever. You're not going to college. You're not going to university. You're not in your dream job, you're not doing your dream career, you think you're too old and everybody's going ahead of you. Time seems to be getting ahead of you as well. It's interfering with your relationship with God. It's interfering with your relationship with those around you, your family, your relationship with yourself. If it's interfering with your relationship with yourself, then you know that you have a lot of work to do. So you need to look into yourself and see what your bad habits are, and you need to work on them. First of all, if you realize that you are a person who, procrastinate, then you need to work on that. First of all, procrastination can go a long way, because there are tiny stuffs that add up to procrastination, and most persons always say, oh well, I procrastinate, but even I myself always say it. But I have lately realized that it's more than procrastination and fear. Fear is one of your biggest setback. Fear can be one of your biggest setback ever. Like, if you fear doing something, it's gonna make you procrastinate because you're afraid of doing it. So that is how you need to break out of it. You need to look into yourself and see what it is that is there. Because really, when you look at it, what is there to be afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? I don't know. Because if you say, for instance, you want to come up with an idea and you want to try it, but you're afraid of it working, you're not gonna look. At the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody cares. So if you have a big idea and you want to pitch it, try to pitch it. If you have the resources, pitch it. If you don't, well, work towards getting the resources to pitch it. Never let fear hold you back. If you want to start posting on social media but you're afraid of what others think, at the end of the day, nobody cares. People have their own lives to focus on. No one really cares. Everybody has their own demons to fight, Everybody has their own things going on in life that they might see, like persons who know you might see it and say, oh, what the hell? But that's just for like a few minutes. After you're gone, you're gone. They don't remember about it because they have their own lives to think about, their own persons in their own circle to think about, especially themselves. Everybody has their own demons to fight. You're not the only one who has demons to fight. Some persons' trials might be greater than some, as well as their mental capacity to deal with it. But we all have our demons to fight. No one is being treated more unfairly than anyone. We're all having to go through in this life. We all have it to go through it. It depends on how we deal with it and how we change the narrative of our lives and fix our situations. So yes, we need to work on our fear and our procrastination, and we need to work on our habits also, because change comes from within. And if you realize that you have a lot of bad habits and you realize that your bad habits are affecting like the turnout of your life, then you need to change all of those bad habits. Like for myself, I've been doing a lot of self-check lately, and I realize that I have a lot of bad habits that I need to change. I find it like such a chore to wake up early in the mornings, and it affects me because I have work to go. I wake up like late, and then I have to rush to get ready, and then I get ready properly within the short span of time that I have to get ready, and then I leave out not looking as perfect as I would desire, and then I end up being late for work, and then I'm being chastised by my superiors, like my supervisors, my managers, even my boss, and it just sets my day off completely because I feel bad about the situation and I hate myself and all of those stuff. So all of those stuff have got to go out the window, and honestly, working on those stuff can change you a lot. You see, those stuff all boils down to discipline. If you don't have discipline, you will never get anywhere in life. Just know that. People always say, you need motivation. Motivation is good. We all need motivation from time to time. Even the successful need motivation sometimes. But how far can motivation bring you? Motivation cannot take you, motivation can only take you so far. But what you need is discipline, because discipline can take you places that motivation cannot. And I am self-aware, and I know I have no discipline, and I'm trying to work on it. I want to be better, and I want to be greater, and in order for me to be better, I have got to work on these tiny stuff, because when I reach the big stuff, these tiny stuff that I have, these habits that I have that are hindering me, no, they're gonna hinder me when I get the big stuff. So these stuff, you need to work on them. See, time is precious, and we really never know how precious time is until it's taken from us. So the more we can know to manage time, I wouldn't say manipulate, but the more we know to appreciate time and manage it, we can get so much out of this time and this short life that we have here. Because our life, we may think it's long, but it's so short and uncertain. So the moments and the chances and the time we get here, we should make good use of it. We should make valuable use of it. It should be worthwhile, So if you're watching this right now and you're seeing this right now, what you need to do, write your to-do list for the next day. Write your to-do list, write down all the things that you want to do. And I've always listened to other motivational speakers, and they always say this, and I was like, that makes no sense. I tried this and it doesn't work. It does. You see, when you want something, it's going to work. When you don't want anything, it's not gonna work. So if say for instance, you have to let's see, if you have like a skirt to make and you want to make the skirt, if you don't write down, hey, on the to-do list that I'm going to make this skirt, then guess what, the day will go and you will never get to make the skirt because you didn't write it. But watch if you write it down and you write other tasks on it, like go to work, apply for college, this and that, and you do those, it's gonna encourage you to, and you see that you did it, it's gonna actually encourage you to want to make that skirt, So work on writing a to-do list the night before. After you write a to-do list, if you realize that you have a problem with waking up early, like myself, that change is not gonna come overnight. So if you realize that you need to prepare your clothes to wear to work the next day, or school, or wherever you're going, you need to prepare everything, pack your bags, prepare for the next day. Do everything that you have to, put everything. It happens to me, and I don't know if it happens to any of you guys, but sometimes when you're in haste, that's the time when you cannot seem to find anything. So always make sure that everything that you need for the next day, it is in access to you, and it's in a place where you know that you can have access to it. So in case if you do not get to wake up early the next day, and once you prepare for it the day ahead, you reflect on the day that has passed, reflect on what went bad and what went good. You pray and give God thanks for what went good, and you pray to God to help his work on the other stuff that they didn't get done good, to be better, so just always give gratitude and always pray to God before you go to bed, because we always take life for granted, and we never really know until it's taken from us or from our loved ones, and it's really scary. So you never know sometimes, but like, it's such a blessing to wake up to live to see the next day, and it's a blessing to sleep safely through the night, because anything can happen. It's good to pray. It's always good to pray, so never forget to pray. And praying helps, because you see, I don't know about you guys, but you see, when I do not pray or forget to pray the night before, and then the next day I always feel so I don't know, I don't feel like myself. You see, when you pray before you sleep, you feel so much better than when you don't, because that's me. Honestly, when I pray before I sleep and I wake up the next day, I feel so much better than I do when I forget to pray or I don't pray the night before. So prayer is always important. Prayer helps, and people don't know it, but prayer is so powerful. That's the gift that God has given us to use. That's the power that God has given us to use, to call upon his name, and to pray and to trust and believe in him. So yes, we are always supposed to pray and give thanks. So yes, so prepare for that's that for preparing for the day ahead. No, actually, that's not exactly that. I forgot to also add, you are supposed to make sure that if it is that you are having problem with waking up on time. People always say set several alarms. I would say set one. Why? Because you see, if you set several alarms, especially in such a sharp span of time, you see, the problem with waking up and going back to sleep is, I don't know, you see, in the mornings, it's always so hard to wake up. And most persons who are not a morning person, when you wake up, you feel so tired and like you're not ready for the day, and you feel like sleep hits the best there. So if you wake up, like, say for instance, you set an alarm and you wake up like 5:30 when you hear it goes off, and you decide, I'm not ready to wake up yet, so I set a 6 o'clock one, so I'm just gonna wait until that one rings off and go back to sleep. That's, first of all, that's not good for your body. That throws off your day. And second of all, if you keep on doing that, the more you go back to sleep, is the more tired you feel. I don't know about you guys, but it happens to me. The more tired you get, and then you just, it dampens you, and you don't want to wake up, and you're not ready for the day. So set one alarm. If I would suggest, I think it's better to wake up 5 o'clock. Some persons want to wake up 6. Some persons want to wake up 4:30. It depends on how you manage time. Well, it has to do with your schedule, what you have to do in the morning. How is your morning gonna look like? What time your work started, school? So it depends. What works for you? 5 o'clock is always the go-to for most, and I think 5 o'clock would work well for me. So work with what time works for you, and work with what time you think you will get stuff done before you have to go off for the day at your job, school, etc. So yes, set your alarm and go to sleep on time, because you see, sometimes what makes most of us don't wake up on time, the hours that we choose to sleep. So if you choose to sleep like after 12, first of all, no, you have no business sleeping after 12. Sleep is so important and often take for granted for most of us. Sleep makes you function, and if you get less sleep, your body doesn't function properly. If your day feels awful, your mood sucks. My mood sucks when I do not get enough sleep. So sleep is important. They always say, I think you're supposed to get 8 hours sleep maximum, or that's the amount of sleep you're supposed to get. I don't know, but what I suggest is a good sleeping time is like, in order for you to get that amount of sleep, is like 10 o'clock. Let's see, 10 to 5, 10 to 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's 7. But yes, I think 7 works too. Is it? Let me see. Let me count this again. Alright, so 10 to 11, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7. So 7. So I think 7 works. 7 hours worked, So I think oversleeping is just as bad as being underslept. So just get your good hours of sleep. If you have to stay up until 12 o'clock, and you know that if you stay up until 12 o'clock, like 12 a.m. in the night, and you know that you step to that time and you still manage to wake up feeling okay 5 o'clock, then that works. But let me see how much hours of sleep that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5 hours of sleep. That should be that. If that works for you, it works. But at the end of the day, make sure you get enough sleep, because sleep helps the body heal. And the more sleep, well, if you get enough sleep, your body will heal and feel refreshed for the day. So make sure you sleep on time so you can wake up on time and prepare for the day ahead. Set your alarm. If you find out that you cannot wake up early independently, set your alarm, and set one alarm so that when you hear it, you know that there is no more to hear and you have to get up out of your bed. After that, when you wake up, you get yourself ready, do everything that you have to do. You know, my mom always told me this, and it's so true. You see, you might wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or you might wake up not feeling motivated or uplifted, but by just simply, looking and feeling your best, by how you put yourself together, how much you spend and you're taking care of yourself, and your hygiene in the morning can lift your mood up. So if that works for you, then just spend time on yourself. So make sure you have enough time to spend on yourself. And also, another thing that many have told me, even my mom, always, and we all should know this, always wake up and give God thanks for waking up, because you didn't have to wake up. Wake up with gratitude. Wake up knowing that God chose you to wake up to live to see this day, and many haven't. You are alive. You got the chance to live to see another day. The possibilities are endless, because you can do so much in that day if you put your mind and your heart to it. So yes, give God thanks for the day. In fact, actually, I don't know how I forgot to say that, but that's the first thing you're supposed to do when you wake up in the morning. Wake up with gratitude and give God thanks for allowing you to live to see this day, to bless you and keep you, give you strength and courage to go throughout the day, I should say, go throughout the day, because you're gonna need it. And we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. So you never know what you're going up against for the day, so always pray that He keeps you. You never know what prayer. I said it before and I'm saying it again. You never know how powerful prayer is. Prayer is so powerful. That's one of the most powerful tools the Lord has given us to use. So we have to use it every chance we get. It's supposed to be a part of us. It's supposed to be like a routine. Like it's supposed to become as important as our routine, like waking up and brushing our teeth and bathing in the morning. It's supposed to be even more important than those. We need it to carry us through our days and through our lives. So always remember to always give thanks and praise to our Lord Jesus Christ, because He's worthy of it. And every day we wake up, and the things that He has blessed us with in this life, He's worthy to be praised for it. So always remember to give Him thanks for those. Also, first thing first, when you wake up in the morning, give God thanks. And then you get ready for the day and you put your all into it. You don't just do it once you wake up early, you mastered waking up early for the first time in a long time, you're gonna feel good about yourself, and you're gonna be like, yes, I prayed. What's next? Get ready. You have enough time. You don't have to be doing it in haste. You have enough time to fix your hair, to look your best. Don't spend too much time doing it now. Do it in moderation, but try to look your best. And then once you're ready, you go out for the day, whether it's school, work, whatever. You're gonna feel like you have it all together, because you have done a big part of your day what you always thought you couldn't. I'm telling you, if you have been having those struggles like I've just explained earlier, like I've been having, and you realize that you have mastered those, you're gonna feel like you can trust yourself. You're gonna have confidence in yourself. It's gonna work. If you didn't have any confidence, it's gonna work on your confidence a little, because you're gonna trust and believe in yourself that if you can do these little simple tasks, if I can change this much about myself, then the possibilities are endless. You see, inner work is so important. And even if it is that you have problems with your emotions, problem with showing gratitude, maybe sometimes it's important to get counseling for those. So if it is that you realize that you have a lot of personality problem, and character flaws, sometimes it's important to seek therapy, because therapy could help so much. Therapy is taken for granted by many. I think we all should be self-aware. As humans, we should all be self-aware and know who we are. Sometimes we don't, and it's okay. You can always ask persons what they think of you. Not everybody is gonna be sincere, so it's better to get enough feedbacks of persons from get enough from enough persons. So especially persons who even persons who you associate with from your workplace, school, whole family, and just combine it together and see what it is or who it is that you are. If it is that you have a hard time figuring out what you're like, I am very self-aware of myself as at today, because I have looked and assessed my my actions and my qualities and everything. I realized that there is a lot that I need to work on. I realized that I have a lot to, work on, and I need a lot of, healing, like on the inside. So if it is that you realize that about yourself, if it is that you realize that you need like healing from like childhood trauma, like from, school, like from bullying, from peer pressure, from your home, from an abusive household, from toxic relationship, whatever it is, if you realize that those have affected you negatively and have made you a person that you do not like have harbor characteristics that you do not like, qualities that you do not like about yourself, if you realize that those have affected you in a negative way rather than a positive way, that they've made you toxic, that they've made you just have qualities about yourself that you do not like, and you know that it is because of those abuse and all of those struggles that you've been through, then you might need therapy. And if it is that you can get access to therapy and you can afford it, then please, by all means, get it. If you cannot afford it, there are so many persons across social media that can help. Honestly, there are so many persons across social media. We need therapy, and they're free. You listening to some of these motivational speakers can be therapy, depending on the ones, of course, because some of them are very good. Some of them have helped me. Therapy is so important to one's personal growth. And what's the funny thing about personal growth? You never really stop growing. And even when it starts, and when it stops and you think it stops, you continue to grow. So it's always important to work on yourself as a person and try. If you realize that you have bad characteristics about yourself that you do not like you hate yourself, you have no business hating yourself. You should love yourself. Love yourself at best. Once you love yourself, there's nobody else that can really outdo that. I think the biggest thing is self-love. And not self-love that makes you mean or ugly or selfish. When I say ugly, I mean like on the inside. But self-love that makes you full of humility and compassion. Self-love that comes, from a deep place within. So yes, really work on your character. If it is that you're having problems with confidence, low self-esteem, self-hate, feeling a sense of worthlessness, not feeling loved or anything, then you can seek therapy. If it is that you cannot access anybody that can help you or any therapist, then here's what we're gonna have to do. First of all, look yourself in the mirror. First of all, I should have said this earlier, but in the mornings when after you pray and everything, just go and look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how much you love yourself. Look at yourself. There has to be something good about your face that you love. I don't believe there's nothing ugly in God's creation, so I don't know who started this thing about calling people ugly. I would never call anybody ugly, and even if I did, maybe it was when I was younger and in the past, which wasn't really right, but me, my adult self today would never do it. I think that's really wrong. Yes, maybe I did sometimes in the past out of humor or so on, but deep down on the inside, I don't think that none of us should be called ugly, because we are all fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and I don't think there's anything ugly about God's creation. That's just rude. Imagine God creating something and thinking that it's ugly. Who would? No. When you create anything, do you think of it as ugly, even if somebody else tells you that it's ugly? I doubt it. So no, never ever think anything ugly of yourself. Never ever think anything ugly of what you even create. Think of it as the best, because honestly, it comes from you, and there's nothing but good things that come from you. So look yourself in the mirror when you wake up, and look at yourself really, and I love myself. I love you. I love myself. I love you, whatever your name is. I would just look at myself in the mirror and be like, I love you, Nicola. When I was younger, due to school and everything, there are many persons who used to look at me and tell me that I'm ugly, and I grew up thinking that I was ugly. I always thought I was ugly. Always. There was never a time when I was growing up that I thought I was pretty. I've always looked at other girls and admired them, really beautiful girls, even those who society or persons around me would consider ugly. I would look at them and I would be like, this person is so beautiful. I wish if I looked like them. Or I wish if I had their hair, because I hated my hair so much. And I wish if I looked like them, and so on. But as I got older, I looked at myself I think one morning I was, looking at myself. I don't know why I was in the, well, I was, I've always, who doesn't get ready and look at themselves in the mirror? But anyways, that day, I just looked in the mirror and I was like looking at myself. And the first thing I noticed about myself that I really loved was my eyes. And I was like, wow, I love my eyes. I love the shape of them. Like, why do they look so beautiful? And then, as I got older, I forgot to add, as I got older, a few persons would, tell me that I'm not supposed to let anybody tell me that I'm ugly, I'm beautiful, this and that. But yes, anyways, I looked at my eyes and I realized that I love my eyes. And then, going on, I was like, I love myself. And also, I was struggling with, like, during adolescence, I didn't know if it's noticeable, but I've always been struggling with acne. I think I started struggling with acne like late teen, going up to recently. So I've always been struggling with acne, so you know how that goes. It came to a point in my life where I just accepted it, honestly. I just didn't care anymore. Like how girls would freak out over pimples. I just didn't care anymore because I was like, I tried so many stuff to get rid of it and it wasn't working, and I just decided that, yeah, maybe I need to wait until I get rich to fix this. So yes, anyways, after, I don't know, I think it was like the year before last year or something, it reached a peak. Like, it was getting so disgusting, and then people started questioning me about it. Like, people, random strangers would be like, oh my god, what are you using for your face? And then I got more insecure about it, so I started getting insecure again. My mom would tell me about it, my coworkers, my friends. It was so, imagine the pressure from everyone around me about my acne. So I was like, you know what, maybe I need to work on this. So I tried again to invest in it until I got something that is working, but I wouldn't say it's working fully, maybe temporarily. Yes, I think it was but my previous statement, I think it was last year or year before, I don't remember, but yes. But I started working on it, and gradually it looks better, but it's temporary. And I still don't think this is a permanent solution to my problem, and I'm working on it. But at the end of the day, acne aside, from that day I looked in the mirror and I looked at my eyes and I realized I love my eyes. I started telling myself I was beautiful, and those times I still had acne on my face. So I just started looking at myself in the mirror, and I started realizing more things about myself that I love. I realized that my teeth, that I was very insecure of, not necessarily my teeth, I should say my smile, which I was so insecure about. I'm no longer insecure about my smile because it is beautiful. I was also insecure about my smile and my smile is because my gums, they're really black. They're black, and I think it's something rare. Maybe a few persons might have it, but it's rare, and I happen to be the only person of my family that have it. So sometimes people mock me when I was younger, like, your gum is so black and this, and I used to feel bad about it. I was so insecure about it, but not anymore. I love my smile because it's very rare and beautiful. And then I just started, love myself. Started seeing things about myself that I love. I love my, cheekbones. So yes, nobody can tell me that I'm ugly again. And even while I had the acne back then, that was the time when I found out. After I looked in the mirror and I looked at my eyes and I realized that I love my eyes. And I was like, I'm beautiful. I have potential. So sometimes when people tell me I'm ugly, I'm like, I am beautiful. I have potential. It's just the acne hiding it. That's what I always tell them. I have potential, and it's just the acne that's hiding it. From that moment, I've just believed in myself, and I believe that I'm beautiful, and I know that I'm beautiful. I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made by the Lord, and I thank God for what He has done for me. I'm beautifully unique in my own way, just like everyone else is, and you should tell yourself that. That's why I've been asking, what is there about yourself that you love? Just look at yourself and look in the mirror. There has to be something on your face or on your body that you love. And once you do that, it will just happen like magic. You just start loving yourself. We're all uniquely beautiful in our own way. We're all equally unique in God's creation, and we all are beautiful because we are created by God. Let me be the first to tell you that there's nothing ugly about God's creation, okay? Yes, so work on yourself. Start loving yourself. You have to have confidence. I think there's this popular quote, without confidence in self, you're twice defeated in the race of life. I hope I said it right. It was by Marcus Garvey, and it's so true. You see, confidence can carry you far places. I see persons who are so confident in themselves that they do stuff like extraordinary stuff that I wish if I had the guts to do, and I can't because I don't have the confidence that they have. You see, confidence is so good and so important. Confidence can make you look ugly because of it, but as long as you have grace and humility in you, you're matchless. You're matchless. You have to have confidence in yourself. You see, once you have confidence, people cannot intimidate you when you have confidence. People will know to respect you when you have confidence. If you do not have confidence, you will not be respected and you will not be treated with the love and respect that you deserve. People think it's easy to intimidate you, and that's just not gonna work. Not for the version of yourself that you desire to become. No, you need to work on your confidence. You have to work on your confidence. Start loving yourself, and the more you start doing things to prove to yourself that you are good enough, then you will have confidence. Because if you're a person who is never getting anything right in life, who's always behind, who's always late, who's a procrastinator, who's a failure, as you would tell yourself, if you're a person who's afraid to do something big and extraordinary, you're not gonna have any confidence. You're not gonna have any confidence in yourself, so you need to work on your confidence. Also, you need to deal with your procrastination. Now, procrastination is a lot of us problem, okay? It's a lot of us problem. Procrastination is one of our biggest setbacks. There are so many things that so many persons could do but don't because of procrastination and fear. I think I'm gonna get at fear and procrastination can coincide in some ways, but still two separate stuff. So I think I'm gonna work on the procrastination before I go to the fear. We all know what procrastination is. It's the delaying of stuff that it needs to be done, but you find it too hard to do, so you don't do it. Most of what some of the great stuff that you see in the world today would have never been here if those persons allow their procrastination to take over them. You see, most of the times we procrastinate is because we find something hard to do, and when you really do it, it's not that hard, but at the time when it's supposed to be, we think it's hard. But coming from someone with experience, it is hard to overcome procrastination. So in order for us to overcome it, we're gonna have to do it step by step, and that's the only way we can ever get over anything, because change can't happen overnight. So in order for you to change, you kind of have to just start from small, because it's just gonna be impossible to do it big. The more we start from small, the more possible it is to be done. So if it is that we realize that we have problems with procrastination, go over all the steps and all the what I've just said before, because you see, all of those, they all add up and they all make the difference. Procrastination will never take you anywhere. You will want to be great, and you cannot be great because of procrastination. Procrastination cannot work if it is that you want to be out there, if you want to be big, if you want to be great. If you want to be great, then procrastination's got to go through the window. Yes. As for fear can go with procrastination, because most of the times when I procrastinate, I think it's because of fear. Most of the times when I think I'm procrastinating, it's actually fear. So fear can set you back. Fear can not take you places at all. Fear is generally like something that comes from the inside. You see, if you don't have a lot of confidence, or if you have been told no a lot in your life, and you feel like you just feel small, you're gonna be fearful. So you gotta stop thinking small, and you gotta start thinking big. Start thinking big of yourself. Start loving yourself. Start telling yourself that it is possible. Start caring about what people think, because also that is where fear comes from. You cannot care what people think if you want to be great and you want to be in places. You've got to throw fear through the window. You've got to not care about what anyone thinks, because at the end of the day, what no one thinks cannot help you. What no one thinks cannot validate you. In order for you to go anywhere, it's got to take you. It's got to take your guts. It's got to take your determination. It's got to take your grit. Be fearless. Stop caring about what others have to think. They don't have any time to think about you. They don't. So stop worrying about them. Stop fearing what they have to think. Stop fearing about what your past, the persons of your past want to think about you. They don't care, and even if they see you, they're gonna be like, what the hell? But it's just for a moment. They don't care. After that, they're gonna move away from you, and they're gonna focus back on their reality, which is their life. So you're not a part of their reality. The only way you become a part of someone's reality is if they don't have a life. And if somebody is really that invested into you, then they don't really have anything to do. They don't have anything to do with their life. They don't have a life, and that's just really sad. The only thing you can do is pray for them, because what else is there to do? But never let yourself be held back by your own fear, your own insecurities, and your own and what others have to say about it, because most of the times our fear comes from our own insecurities, what others have to say about us, judgment of the world and of people. Just do your thing. Just do it. No one starts great. Not even the best, not even the most successful, not even the greatest person out there starts out perfect. They started out whack, and look at where they are now. If they didn't start, they would have never been anywhere. So never be afraid of starting. Just start. The most important thing is that you overcome that fear and you start. You'll feel like you want, and then once you do, you just take your step. And the more you do is the more it will work on your confidence. So you see, just look for that big thing that you want to do that can, take you places. Because at the end of the day, we want to go places. If you're watching this video, it is that you want to change your life and you want to go places. We don't want to be stuck. We want to be extraordinary. We want to become great, And in order for us to become great, we have to be known. We have to be out there. So just get out there, be fearless, and just be the best version of ourselves that we can be. In a good way, of course. Be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Be a mountain mover. Be someone that can change lives. Be someone that can, even your baby self, your inner child, can look up to. That anyone can look up to. Anyone who has been through similar situations like you. Be a source of fulfillment, not only for yourself but for others. That is the way to go in life. Life is too short and uncertain for us to not live up to our full potentials. If you know you have it in you and it's something that sets on your heart and you really want to do it, then by all means, go for it. Please go for it. The possibilities are endless. You will never know unless you try. Who knows? It can be so great, you will never know. And even if you start and you fail, then try again. That's the first sign of success. Trying again after failing, and trying again and trying again. It'll just only get better from there. So that's that. I think I might have to do a part 2 to this, because I don't think I've gotten into everything that I wanted to get into. But whosoever have seen this, then I'm glad you have, and I hope that by some means and some ways you have been touched and encouraged. Thank you so much for watching, and I pray that God bless you. Love you.